Live in high definition from WBFF in Baltimore. This is Fox 45 News at 10.
The investigation into the death of Freddie Gray. Tonight, new revelations about how he received his injuries.
The violence and the looting during the riots, the questionable orders one police officer says he received. Hello, I'm Kai Jackson.
And I'm Jennifer Gilbert. This is the third night of the curfew in Baltimore. Here's a live look at that intersection of Pennsylvania and North Avenues. You can see a few people milling around out there tonight, but really a small crowd as it is now 10 o'clock and the curfew is in effect. We'll get back to that location in just a minute. Tonight, we continue to follow the developing story regarding the cause of death of Freddie Gray.
An investigation into the death of the Baltimore resident has found no evidence that his fatal injuries were caused during the videotaped arrest and interaction with police officers. This, according to multiple law enforcement sources. Sources spoke to our sister station, WJLA in D.C., after being briefed on the findings of a police report turned over to prosecutors Thursday.
Sources said the medical examiner found Gray's catastrophic injury was caused when he slammed into the back of the police transport van, apparently breaking his neck. A head injury he sustained matches a bolt in the back of the van.
Details surrounding exactly what caused Gray to slam into the back of the van are unclear. Now, the officer driving the van has yet to give a statement to authorities.
It's also unclear whether Gray's head injury was voluntary or was the result of some other action. The medical examiner's office declined to comment on this open investigation and said it does not release preliminary findings. We are now a couple of minutes into the third night of the curfew.
West Baltimore has been the site of some of the incidents surrounding the few nights of the curfew. Keith Daniels joins us now live from the intersection of Pennsylvania and North Avenues. Keith, what's happening right now?
Well, Kai, people are beginning to leave here. Police helicopters are above. We've heard that ominous announcement reminding people that the curfew is in effect, and they're asking people to go home. There are just a few people here, mostly photographers, and if you look to my left there are some juveniles. Looks like there are juveniles on this side over here. Photographers taking their pictures, showing that they are still here, even though this curfew is in effect. And then we've got police lined up against the wall over there. Mostly, again, journalists here on the scene where, as you mentioned, there have been several trouble spots, but nothing like that at this hour. Again, police are moving in and making sure these streets are cleared. Also tonight, one point, we caught up with the man who says he was in the police transport van with Freddie Gray on the day of his arrest. Dante Allen is 22. He gives details about what happened after he says that van arrived at the Western Police District. Let's listen.
And I heard them when I got out that van saying, yeah, he don't have no boss, y'all. We must have, did that.
You heard police say that?
I heard police say that. I heard police say, we must have gave him a run for his money, man. We must have really hurt this guy. You know what I mean? So they took me inside the station. When I went in the bullpen, the short officer lady come there like, well, he got vitals now. Must have he came back to life. You know what I mean? So they waited. Now, do all this, they still got him in the paddy wagon. How do I know this? Because they were saying, well, he's still in the paddy wagon, but we don't know what to do.
Well, police say they did call for paramedics shortly after that arrival at the Western Police District, and then, as we know by now, Freddie Gray died a week after his arrest, being arrested by police. Back here now again, we'll bring you more of that, by the way, later, but back here now again, the curfew is also the story. Still seeing people milling around here as police say they're going to move in momentarily, as they've done the past 2 days, to push people away from this corner. You can see they're setting up the cones here as we speak now, and we have commanders moving in. Here they say to give the order to have those police officers in the riot gear come through and move and clear this corner. That's live. That's the latest now from North and Pennsylvania Avenue. Let's go back to you.
All right, thank you, Keith Daniels, reporting live. The investigation into Freddie Gray's death is now in the hands of the Baltimore City State's attorney. As Crime and Justice reporter Joy LaPola explains, it'll be up to that office to decide whether state charges should be filed.
At approximately 8:50 this morning, our task force charged with investigating the tragic death of Mr. Freddie Gray turned over the contents of that investigation to the state attorney's office.
Although Police Commissioner Anthony Batts indicated last week there would be information released to the public once the department turned over its report to the state's attorney, that didn't happen today.
I understand the frustration. I understand the sense of urgency, and so has the organization, and that is why we have finished it a day ahead of time.
These developments follow a Washington Post article that suggests Gray was trying to hurt himself in that police van, information police and prosecutors have tried to keep from the public out of concern it could jeopardize their case.
A lot of people are already convinced that it's just going to be glazed over, as it were, for the most part.
In the document the Post obtained, the second man in the back of the van with Gray told investigators while he couldn't see Gray because of the metal barrier between them, he could hear Gray banging against the walls. We already know, based on what the commissioner has told us, officers violated department policy when they first didn't buckle Gray in, and then didn't provide him with any medical attention, even though he says Gray repeatedly requested it.
The family and the community and the public deserve transparency and truth. The task force heeded my call, and we have exhausted every lead at this point in time. But this does not mean that the investigation is over. Let me repeat, this does not mean that the investigation is over.
In a statement from the state's attorney's office, the city prosecutor is asking for the public to, quote, remain patient and peaceful. Joy LaPolla, Fox 45 News.
Well, new information shows the police transport van carrying Freddie Gray made another stop. Kathleen Cairns joins us from the corner of Fremont Avenue and Mosier Street to tell us how investigators made this discovery. Kathleen.
Jennifer, we know that the police transport van came to a stop at this intersection, and it's because of this corner store. If you take a look above here, you can see two cameras, and investigators say the footage from those cameras show the van carrying Freddie Gray coming to a stop.
On the corner of North Fremont and Mosier Street, CR Grocery Store has been a popular spot for locals.
Basic things, bread, milk, soda.
Now we find that corner store's surveillance cameras captured key footage in the Freddie Gray case. There are two surveillance cameras. Investigators say it shows the police transport van made a stop at this location on that fateful day.
The second stop has been revealed to us during the course of our investigation and was previously unknown to us. We discovered this new stop based on our thorough and comprehensive and ongoing review of all CCTV cameras and privately owned cameras. And in fact, this new stop was discovered from a privately owned camera.
Investigators made a copy of the surveillance video after Gray was injured. Then, Monday night, the store was one of those targeted by looters. The laptop containing the footage was taken. Residents say they hope the footage police now have helps lead to the truth about Gray's death.
They just need to take a fork and dig a little deeper and really investigate their cops. Because we can't have cops killing people on the street. We already had people killing people on the street.
We are back live in West Baltimore. Those are the cameras that captured this footage, and those cameras are located above this store. Again, previously, police had said that the van had stopped 3 times. New information tonight. Now police are saying it actually stopped 4 times. Reporting live in West Baltimore, Kathleen Cairns, Fox 45 News.
Fire investigators are asking for your help to find the person responsible for damaging the city's fire equipment. Investigators say they're looking for this man. They believe he's the suspect who stabbed holes in the pressurized fire hose on Monday while crews were trying to extinguish the fire at the CVS at North and Pennsylvania Avenues. Anyone with information about this incident is asked to contact Metro Crime Stoppers at 410-276-8888. This afternoon, rain wasn't enough to stop a 6-mile peaceful protest that started in West Baltimore and ended at City Hall. Karen Parks was in the middle of the march where hundreds hoped for peace. Karen?
I love Baltimore! We want peace!
It was a love for the city that brought hundreds to the streets. This is our town, Charm City, and all lives matter.
Supporting my black men. No justice, no peace.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
It's a moment in history.
Dads with sons hoping to teach a lesson.
It's a moment for him to express to his grandkids and his kids about the history that he made with his father.
While many marched in peace,
We want peace!
others marched mad.
Police! No peace!
Up North Avenue,
No peace!
down St. Paul, ending at City Hall. But that's when emotions reached a peak.
Commander, this is the worst thing I ever had in my life. This is the worst thing I ever had in my life.
But in the end, the crowd left in peace.
No racist! No peace! No peace!
Well, normally today would be a day for football fans to celebrate the game. It is draft day, and the team had planned to hold a draft party at M&T Bank Stadium tonight. In light of recent events, that was canceled. But the draft is still going on. The Ravens have yet to pick a player. Sports Director Bruce Cunningham will bring us up to speed on the draft coming up in Sports Unlimited.
Former Raven Ray Lewis and Ravens players took to the team's motto, "Protect this house," to a new level.
I'm pleading with Baltimore to do nothing else but give our kids jobs so we can stop some of this crime on these streets, so we can give y'all something to do. That's all I can know is, man.
Lewis players and even head coach John Harbaugh spent part of draft day at Frederick Douglass High in West Baltimore. This is one of the schools near Monday's violence and riots. Students were encouraged to open up, ask honest, raw questions, and share their frustrations. Larry Collins was there and caught up with Coach Harbaugh.
Why was it important for you to spend draft day out here with these students?
Well, high school football, you know, like coach is working here. It's all about high school football. That's what football's all about. These guys, and not just high school football, but high school. I was so impressed, Coach, with the questions that were asked. I mean, the viewpoints that were expressed by the students. This is a smart, talented. This school's full of talent. It has just been a great day. It's been fun.
What's your message to him working with these young people every day?
I look for his message to me. I mean, he's on the front lines. This coach right here is on the front lines. He's facing all these issues that these guys face every day and working with them, working through it, getting these guys in college.
The group also walked through the area and visited a nearby elementary school.
Accused rioters released from jail. The legal reason the cops had to let them go and how many who were locked up are now back on the streets.
And working to heal Baltimore when the news at 10 continues.
And taking a live look at Pennsylvania and North Avenue, the helicopter shot there as the curfew is now in effect. You see some people mingling around, mostly media and police officers. We'll keep you updated on this night 3 of the curfew.
And it looks like we saw some rain showers that came through the area, a few rumbles of thunder, and looks like we are seeing still more rain on the way. I'm going to show you how long the rain will stick around and what our temperatures will be doing through the weekend coming up in my forecast.
Tonight, Baltimore's police commissioner is stressing the curfew will remain in place through the weekend. Shelley Orman is live from police headquarters. And Shelley, we also hear that he's asking for people to be patient and to cooperate through all of this.
He is, Jennifer. Commissioner Batts says that he has heard from residents and business owners weary of the curfew, but he said that the last 2 days of relative quiet are not enough for them to let their guard up. There are 2 large marches planned for this weekend, and he said that more are being planned each day. So the National Guard, state troopers, police, and all auxiliary law enforcement will remain on the ground throughout the city. The curfew will be enforced until law enforcement commanders, the governor, and mayor deem it safe to be lifted. For the next few days, the sole focus is on security for the city of Baltimore, and the police commissioner is being very specific about what this curfew means.
There's residents and citizens. This is a curfew. The purpose of the curfew is not to be out on the streets or outside. This is not to stay on your stoop. We will use some common sense and ask you to go back into the house. It would be a little dicey if I was going to arrest you for being on your stoop, but also I don't expect you to be outside. This is not playtime.
And with a big focus on the weekend, the commissioner will not go into specifics on how many National Guard members and police officers are on the ground in the city, but he did say that additional ones would be brought in if necessary. Reporting live at police headquarters, Shelley Orman, Fox 45 News.
Shelley, thank you. More than 100 of those arrested for looting, assault, or violating curfew have been released from jail without ever being charged. John Rydell reports it's all to comply with state law.
It looks as if that is the National Guard.
Tuesday night's dramatic arrest of Joseph Kent for violating curfew.
You know what? As soon as they passed, the police just took that band into custody.
Was captured live on Fox 45. He was formally charged and then released from jail about 48 hours later. But one of his attorneys says Kent is not a troublemaker.
He's been very active with the attempts to become politically active and conscious with respect to doing political activity as opposed to rebel rousing and inciting riots and that kind of thing, and lawlessness.
But because most officers are still working 12-hour shifts, their paperwork for many others arrested is still incomplete. And that's why so many people have been released without formally being charged. Are people being held here more than 48 hours?
I had a few clients here yesterday that were here 3 days, and that's my answer to that question.
And is that illegal?
Yes, that's illegal. There's a law, and that's why we're here, court-appointed attorneys, to assure that these laws, that the people of Baltimore City, when they get processed into the detention center, their rights are defended.
But Baltimore's police commissioner says even though many of these folks have been released from central booking without being charged, it does not mean they won't face charges in the near future.
We're not giving up on them. We're just going to follow up. I think that the system right now is trying to catch up.
Police say the biggest priority now is to keep officers on the street to help curb further violence. In Baltimore, John Rydell, Fox 45 News.
A rally in Philadelphia supporting Baltimore started to get out of hand. People in the Philly is Baltimore rally clashed with police near City Hall in Philadelphia. No reports, though, of any arrests at this point.
All day, every day, we will fight for Freddie Gray.
Protesters in Boston march in solidarity with demonstrators in Baltimore. Thousands demonstrate across the city demanding justice for Freddie Gray. Many of them also citing recent cases of police brutality, saying they understand the rioting in Baltimore this week. And closer to home, protesters in Washington, D.C. held signs saying Black Lives Matter as they demonstrated in front of the White House. About 150 people turned out. Some of the demonstrators held signs concerning other causes, including a plea for Americans to support the rights of girls, women, and transgender people. Thankfully, those protests remained peaceful. As many continue to protest, others are joining together in prayer. Tonight, people gathered at the old St. Paul's Episcopal Church to pray for the city. Jennifer Long from our sister station in Maine was there, and she has this report.
Old St. Paul's has seen a lot over the years. The stained glass and wood pews are all part of Baltimore's history. Now, in some of the city's darkest days, this church still sees the light.
Tell us what we need to hear, O God.
Tonight, a few dozen gathered to lift their voices, thoughts, and prayers.
We're going to pray for Baltimore. We're going to pray tonight for Baltimore.
Bishop Eugene Sutton's message tonight was simple.
Violence never works. Ever.
For the church and people that have seen the violence, this was something a little different.
I'm gonna let it shine.
It didn't take much for people to take notice.
It's important to be together, and it's important to be on the streets in a positive way.
There was something kind of wonderful about kind of bringing our concerns out to the public and doing it by singing.
I'm gonna let it shine.
Another part of history in a time that some may remember as dark will also have a few glimmers of light.
Let it shine. This'll light. This'll light.
The church plans on holding another gathering this weekend, and they say from now until then, they will continue praying for this city. Live in Baltimore tonight, Jennifer Long, Fox 45 News.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. Well, we had some storms that moved through earlier today.
That's right. Chief Meteorologist Vitas Reed is here with your Weather Authority forecast. Vitas.
Well, we saw mild temperatures out there, guys. Temperatures in the low 70s. Then the clouds really start moving in through the afternoon. Rain kind of held off through much of the day. Then it started organizing later in the afternoon. And now we're seeing those temperatures dropping out there. 59 degrees in Baltimore, 56 Hagerstown, and down in D.C. looking at 58 degrees. We'll continue to cool off just a few more degrees tonight. You see some of the heaviest showers are pushing to the west. Usually we have our systems come from west to east, but actually we're looking at an area of low pressure just to the west of us over southern Ohio and parts of Kentucky, and it's wrapping around those showers. So we're seeing a little bit of that easterly flow. We'll continue to see the center of that circulation right in this region here, helping create that little circulation. So that's what's going on out there at this time. A few more showers expected as we go later on into the overnight as this storm, the center of the storm, kind of takes a track down to the southeast here. We'll kind of keep an eye on that, but nonetheless, it keeps a little bit of wet weather in our forecast tonight and then into tomorrow. So what it looks like for tonight, down to about 49 to 50 degrees. We'll see a few spotty showers here and there. Winds out of the east at about 10 to 15. I'll have a closer look at how long the rain will stick around and what our temperatures will be doing through the weekend coming up.
All right, thank you, Vitas. A shocking attack caught on camera. What this woman asked a stranger for before setting a gas pump on fire.
And the heroic action taken by 2 New York City police officers when the news at 10 continues. Caught on camera. A woman creates a huge fire at a gas station. Take a look at this. A woman approaches a man pumping gas in Jerusalem. She chats with the man, walks away, but then uses a lighter to set the pump on fire. The man quickly pulls the pump out, splashing burning gas on the ground, and it ignites. The back of the car bursts into flames. Gas station employees were able to put the fire out. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Police now say the woman may have attacked the man because he didn't give her a cigarette. 2 New York City police officers saved 3 unconscious people from their home, and it's all caught on camera.
One of the officers' body cameras shows them rushing in a home to rescue victims of carbon monoxide poisoning caused by a faulty furnace. First, they rescue a 14-year-old girl. Then they go back inside to save her mother. Then back inside again, grabbing a toddler. After completing the rescue, both officers had their blood tested for carbon monoxide, and both had elevated levels.
Beyond the call of duty, they had no regard for their safety. They were concerned with the residents inside the building, wanted to get everybody out safely.
The adrenaline definitely kicked in. I just feel very fortunate that I was able to be there and to help those people out.
Well, the officer says he has no problem wearing a body camera and was glad it could capture one of the dramatic realities of the job.
The questionable orders on officers, one officer says he received during Monday's riots. That's next on Fox 45 News at 10.
Also ahead, 26th Street 1 year later.
When the city says it will finally reopen the traffic.
And it looks like we are seeing those temperatures cooling off tonight. Cloudy skies, a few showers here and there. We'll tell you what your temperatures will be looking like next week. I think you'll like them coming up in my forecast.
The investigation into the death of Freddie Gray takes a new turn with the revelation of new evidence and word that police have turned their investigation over to the state's attorney's office. Earlier today, I spoke with attorney Steve Allen about how the city state's attorney will deal with the evidence handed over to her.
They're going to want to talk to the various witnesses who the police have identified. They want to determine whether or not those witnesses will say in the future the same thing they've said in the past, either positive or negative. They're going to want to look at all the video to see what the video shows. They're going to want to listen to any recorded statements that have been given, of course, again, to determine whether or not people are going to change their story. And they want to look at the medical reports. The medical reports will be crucial. What the medical examiner says about the nature of the injuries, where on the body the injuries were, and how they affected his death will be crucial to a determination of what happened.
We also asked about how news leaks and witnesses going public could affect the investigation.
The individual who was in the police van with Freddie Gray. The leaks now place him under a great deal of pressure. Will he say the same things later that he said previously? Will the public spotlight cause him to change his story one way or the other?
So that brings us to our question of the day. Are you satisfied with the pace of the Freddie Gray investigation? You can, let's go right now to facebook.com/Fox Baltimore to find out what your thoughts are about this.
Well, questions have been raised about the police tactics on the day of the riot. Some police officers, including the sheriff of Wicomico County, who came to Baltimore to help, say they were given orders to stand down and retreat instead of actively pursuing lawbreakers. This is how police responded when we questioned them about those allegations today.
We had officers that were out there. I came down and talked that afternoon. We had 20 officers injured in that initial encounter. And what you saw was us deploying resources and continuing to move forward, continuing to attempt to disperse the crowd, continuing to, without any break in the action, attempting to address the violent activity that was taking place.
Well, police say nearly 100 officers have been injured during this week of violence.
Video of a Baltimore mother yanking her own son out of Monday's riots has gone viral. Toya Graham says she had to find out if her 16-year-old was part of the trouble that was unfolding up on Dahlman Mall, so she hit the streets. She says she saw him wearing a mask with a brick in his hand and lost it. You see her start repeatedly hitting him. He says he was a little embarrassed, but knows his mother did it because she loves him.
She didn't want me to get in trouble by the law. She didn't want me to be like another Freddie Gray or anybody else that got killed by the police.
As long as I have breath in my body, I will always try to do right by Michael and show him that what's going on out into society doesn't have to be you.
Many people are praising Toya for taking an active role as a parent. She says her son won't be in that situation again.
Mistrust in some communities now runs so deep that officers and residents no longer expect each other to do the right thing. Tonight, Christine Frizzell asks, how much can a community restore trust?
Videos of police confronting suspects appear before the public more than ever before. But what if, instead of running from police, suspects complied?
If you just comply, there'll be a lot more people alive who are not fighting with the police.
Former Police Commissioner Ed Norris says a strategy called comply and complain has lost favor in America's highly charged atmosphere of distrust.
But there was a time when people routinely followed the commands of a police officer. The thinking, if mistreated by an officer during that stop, you'd still be alive to file a complaint or a lawsuit.
They don't care how much we complain, they want us to comply, but when we complain, it's never being done.
And so goes the cycle of deep mistrust, now tangibly etched into many American cities.
I really think it starts with the foundational issue of trust.
Rob Weinhold is a crisis management expert.
And there is compliance in and around that interaction. Lives are saved, people walk away safely.
Diminish the risk for the officer, Weinhold says, and there's less risk of injury to the person they have stopped. But when faith and confidence is lost, it's no longer an easy concept to grasp.
They just labeled us as criminals, man. I just think that's wrong.
People find it easier to resist arrest now, Norris says. The lack of confidence in police officers is largely to blame. Restore the trust and the thinking goes, comply and complain will no longer be a strategy of the past. I'm Christine Frizzell, Fox 45 News.
Well, Baltimore is now getting a big boost in restoration efforts after Monday's destructive riots. CVS Health Foundation and Care First are each giving $50,000 to both the Baltimore Community Foundation and the United Way of Central Maryland, two organizations that mobilized to help residents in neighborhoods hurt in the riots. CVS is helping out despite one of their stores, that store that we saw burn at North in Pennsylvania, almost destroyed and looted on Monday. If not for the events of recent weeks, our lead story tonight could very well be what happened a year ago today.
And Paul Kessler joins us with a timetable of when the city expects the collapsed 26th Street in Charles Village to reopen. Paul.
Kai and Jennifer, the dramatic images once replayed on national and, for that matter, international news have faded from memory for some.
but not for the residents on Baltimore's 26th Street.
Oh my God!
Almost to the minute, 1 year after 26th Street collapsed during a heavy rainstorm. A brief hailstorm falls Thursday afternoon in Charles Village. A fitting punctuation mark.
It's pretty hard to believe. It's been a long year with a lot of problems.
For a year full of cleanup.
They had a lot of work to do.
Construction.
I mean, they were pouring concrete 4 o'clock in the morning.
And confusion.
It was already cracking up around here. We knew it was going to fall eventually.
He said if we don't make a settlement by the 30th, then we're going to court.
Jim Zitzer lives here on 26th Street. His cat Lucy,
oh yeah, she washes too,
has a window seat for the reconstruction after the retaining wall overlooking the CSX railroad tracks collapsed.
And of course now you hear the train, but it's a lot better now because the wall's there as a buffer.
26th Street between Charles and St. Paul Streets remains closed.
Everybody else is using the street except us. People are walking through and biking through, and we're still waiting a year later to use our street.
Baltimore City transportation officials say the road will reopen to drivers and parkers by the end of May.
It really looks good. It looks way better than what it looked.
CSX agreed last summer to pay for half of the repair costs. In an email tonight, a spokesperson tells me the company, quote, remains committed to fulfilling their promise. Paul Gassler, Fox 45 News.
Wasn't a bad day out there today. Some clouds and then the storms moved in.
Yeah, we had some heavy downpours at times through right down metropolitan Baltimore. I mean, right in the city, in the heart of the inner harbor. We have some more scattered showers that we may deal with later tonight, and then that may linger into tomorrow. So take the umbrella with you, but we may get breaks in the clouds, get a little sun. So guys, taking a look at this beautiful shot of downtown Baltimore. All the lights lit up out down there, and it looks like we are going to continue to see temperatures cool off a bit going into the late hours. So sitting at about 59 degrees, winds out of the east at 10 with our humidity levels sitting at 64%. So that air feels a little bit moist as we continue to see this storm wrap around some moisture. Looking at those temperatures in the mid-upper 50s, Oakton 58 degrees, 57 in Bel Air, 56 in Westminster, down in Annapolis, 61, Chestertown coming in at 60, down in Columbia, 55 degrees, Laurel 59, out in Frederick and Gaithersburg mid-50s. So it looks like we'll continue to see these temperatures cool off a tad bit through the overnight. Then tomorrow we'll warm back up, not as warm as what we had today in the 70s, but we'll be in those 60s as we go through the afternoon. A little cooler air trying to spill down out of the north with an area of low pressure that's dipping down over parts of southern Ohio, parts of Kentucky and Tennessee. This will wrap in a little bit of cooler air from the northwest, but it looks like we will see warmer temperatures once again right in on the back edge of that as we get into early parts of next week. But right now you can see an easterly to westerly flow of those showers on the front edge of that low pressure. A little more activity still trying to build up from the south, so we're not totally done with that rain as the center of circulation sitting down here towards southern Ohio as the storm kind of slowly sinks to the south over parts of Virginia. So it looks like we are going to continue to see on the future scan activity rolling on through. You can kind of see that wrapping emotion around that low pressure. So for 7:30 tomorrow, looking at scattered showers, maybe a few more showers through the afternoon, maybe some sun in the afternoon as well. So a little mixed bag, I would say, out there as far as some sun and clouds and some showers. And then even into Saturday, a slight chance for some remaining showers across the area, keeping that in the forecast. So if you have plans, make sure you have an umbrella nearby with the chance for some showers as well. So 49 degrees tonight, a few scattered showers. For tomorrow, looks like we'll see a high of right around 61 degrees, looking at mostly cloudy skies with a few showers scattered here and there. Easterly wind 10 to 15. Your complete 7-day forecast and much warmer air headed our way coming up.
A promise to help Baltimore rebuild, the protest that followed next on Fox 45 News at 10.
And the unusual animal that trashed a home in Rhode Island after the break.
Reverend Al Sharpton arrived in Baltimore this morning and is promising to help rebuild the city. But Jeff Abel shows us not everyone is rolling out the welcome mat.
It's sad to say, but the people is tired of promises.
At North in Pennsylvania, where anger erupted into violence, it may take more than words to help heal.
We need to see the action. We need to see what they're going to do.
All that the community and the family has asked for in Baltimore and people all over the country is the facts.
Today, the Reverend Al Sharpton came to Baltimore and spoke to community leaders where he promised to help the community heal.
We're going to communicate to the young people that we want justice, but we must operate in a just way. Every brick thrown could be a roadblock against getting justice for Gray.
Y'all turned us away, and y'all should be ashamed of that.
Outside, neighbors complain that Sharpton's words are too little, too late.
What he here for? He don't never come down Baltimore unless it's something bad happen. He never down here, but he down here because of this. He need to roll out.
But Sharpton told the crowd he's quietly been working with community leaders and promised to help the city rebuild. But back on North Avenue.
Yeah, I guess it was tried. Yeah, nothing don't fail but to try.
All of them can come, but if they ain't bringing a solution, they might as well stay where they at.
Jeff Abel, Fox 45 News.
Fox 45 will have continuing coverage of the investigation into Freddie Gray's death. Go to our website, foxbaltimore.com, to learn about this case from the beginning, and follow us on Twitter at Fox Baltimore for breaking news updates.
Our everyday smart devices can offer a lot of convenience, but a new investigation by Consumer Reports says that convenience can come with a price. A lot of devices like thermostats, door locks, and even baby monitors are connected to the internet through embedded sensors. Consumer Reports says they work by collecting data on all the habits of users. They say these devices can send a steady flow of personal data to corporate servers where it's saved and shared and can be used in ways consumers can't control.
We don't always know where that data is going, and I think it's not always clear where that data is going. And sometimes it's going to corporate servers of the manufacturer of the product. Sometimes it's going beyond that to third parties, and it's not always clear to the consumer where their data is and how much of their data is being collected.
Well, the expert says most of that information is usually spelled out in the device's privacy policies or settings and encourages people to read them. However, some of those standards are still being set.
A surprising intruder ends up trashing a Rhode Island home. That's the sound of a city worker wrestling with what? A wild turkey. This turkey, the felonious fowl, broke through Nancy Page's bathroom window and left behind a big mess. Somehow the bird also turned on the water, which ran for hours, flooding the house. She called 911 and workers came to get him out.
Will you tell him not to come back here?
Even though that I had been gone for 4 hours and the door had been wide open the whole time, so he could have trashed the whole house, but he didn't leave the bathroom.
Even though he stayed in the bathroom, it's still expected to cost thousands of dollars to repair everything. The turkey wasn't hurt and was released back into the wild.
Well, Chief Meteorologist Vetus Reed is joining us now with a look at the 7-day Weather Authority forecast. Hi, Vetus.
Hey, how you doing? Looking at some changes coming. We have rain showers tonight and then partially into tomorrow. Not a washout, but looking at Friday and then into Saturday, some scattered showers. But you see those temperatures moving up. 61 degrees for Friday. Saturday, it looks like we're going to see a high of right around 70 degrees. But I think we'll get more sun than rain as we get into the weekend. More sunshine on Sunday, 76 degrees by early next week. Looking at 81 on Monday, Tuesday 82, 79 on Wednesday, 80 on Thursday. So it looks like things are warming up out there, and we'll get a pretty good stretch of dry conditions as after we get through Sunday into early parts of next week. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Vetus. Do you have Baltimore's best mom?
Just go to foxbaltimore.com and tell us in 150 words or less why your mom is the best one in Baltimore. Be sure to include a photo.
The grand prize winner gets 2 VIP tickets to the LARDARIUS WEBB charity softball game, plus 2 on-field passes and an invite to the post-game party. 4 runners-up will each receive 2 tickets to the game.
The LARDARIUS WEBB charity softball game takes place Friday, May 8th at 7 p.m. at M&T Bank Stadium. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com, and you can watch it the next night at 8 o'clock on our sister station, WNUV.
First round of the NFL draft. We're still waiting for the Ravens selection. The local player taken next in Sports Unlimited.
And the Purple Pride distributed with food today when the News at 10 continues.
As the Ravens and the rest of the NFL prepare to fashion their rosters for the 2015 season, tonight marks a very big building block, the NFL Draft. The Ravens set to pick 26th in the first round. Here's what we know. Brashad Perryman, a receiver out of Central Florida, sent out a tweet that said, Ravens Nation. That got the speculation going, and it looks as now as if all indications are that Brashad Perryman will indeed be their pick. A minute ago, they were waiting to pick 25th. The Ravens are sitting at 26th, but that's what we know as of now. It looks as if it could be Brashad Perryman. We will certainly update you at 11:30. The first pick in the draft was no surprise. Tampa Bay selected Jameis Winston. The only question about the Heisman Trophy winner is his off-the-field issues. He went 26-1 as a starter at Florida State. The Bucs were 2-14 last year. Oregon QB Marcus Mariota went to the Titans with the second pick. After Winston, Oregon QB Marcus Mariota went second to the Titans. The Jaguars selected Florida defensive end Dante Fowler at 3. Oakland took Alabama receiver Amari Cooper. And the Redskins finally got some linemen. They drafted Iowa offensive tackle Brandon Scherf. The Ravens were hoping they might have a shot at drafting a local kid, but he didn't last nearly long enough. Cornerback Kevin Johnson out of River Hill High in Howard County was taken by the Houston Texans with the 16th pick of the 3rd round. A product of Wake Forest, Johnson was a high school teammate of the Ravens' Michael Campanaro at River Hill. Morgan Atzett will be live from Owings Mills with reaction from the Ravens. That's coming up at 11:30 on The Late Edition.
All right, thank you, Bruce.
A school in Parkton is now coming together to thank and help take care of the first responders working during the crisis in Baltimore.
Students, parents, and the community of Our Lady of Grace Catholic School have collected hundreds of pounds of food and water. They're delivering it all to Camden Yards to be distributed among police, firemen, and the National Guard. Not only is this informing students of what's happening in Baltimore, but it's allowing them to give back.
Seeing the smiles on the police officers' faces, just knowing that we will help them out by giving them some food and water, and knowing that it will go to a good cause and that it will help them to protect our city and protect people in the city.
After giving the resources, members of the school and parish gathered to pray for Freddie Gray and for all who have been affected by his death.
The riots and protests have caused a lot of disruption for people across the city.
One of those problems is pretty basic: food. Photojournalist Ben Worsley was at Henson Elementary School, where 2 truckloads of food were distributed, as well as a lot of purple pride.
The feeling and the air is one of hope.
We're in West Baltimore.
The environment here is wonderful.
Yeah.
This is a food drop intended to feed at least 1,000 people today.
And they're going to give out food. I'm coming to get it. Person in black will give you another bag.
I work hard every day and I still don't have food at the end of the month. Food, we want to eat. We want to make sure that in the midst of all the chaos, that we're getting food into the community.
Have a good day.
And that's what's happening here today.
Can I take your empty bag?
Yes, ma'am.
And here's your full one.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's a blessing.
It's a blessing from God that God gave these people, the Ravens, to give us an opportunity to eat. Tuna.
We just came down to help out.
Heavy.
Right now we just want to, help rebuild the city.
Try to think back when you were, 8, 9, 10 years old and what it would have been like to have somebody come by your school. And yeah, it would have been pretty cool.
I'm Mama Door. Wait, we got man. Shout out to Ray Lewis. Shout out to everybody who, Ray Lewis been retired.
I actually fell in love with everything that they did this morning.
Baltimore, I'm gonna do the dance.
Wait, do that dance. Do that dance. Do that dance.
You feel me? That's what good food do.
And if we really want to see real change, let's give these kids something that they can use.
It means a lot.
It means a whole lot. And that's from the heart. It really means a whole lot. The power of food is very strong.
How crews rescued a lost sea lion. Next on Fox 45 News at 10.
And coming up in just 4 minutes on The Late Edition, the curfew is in effect across the city for a 3rd night. We'll tell you about a new development that the police are investigating at Pennsylvania and North Avenue. Crews rescuing a wayward sea lion pup who was roaming around San Francisco today.
That's right, and it's not the first time they've saved the little guy, apparently. The male pup, nicknamed Rubbish, was seen waddling the city streets this morning by the San Francisco Marina, eventually hiding out underneath an SUV long enough so officials could get close. Rubbish was evading workers from the Marine Mammal Center for about 30 minutes, believe it or not, until he was caught. Crews transporting him back to the center had to be evaluated. He was also treated at the Marine Mammal Center last February for pneumonia and malnutrition.